I started off on Easter Island not as a cool and charming Ezio, but as Desmond, the other guy who gets screen time.
Just basic physics.
I missed a floating rocks lesson in physics class. Desmond's life is boring, so I switched over to Ezio, who's looking for a hidden library. Maybe the library will have a book on how to not be such an easy target. I mean, seriously, what did he expect when he just stood still in unknown, potentially hostile territory? I get captured, but my captors were actually chill. While they were tying my noose, they took their time, which gave me ample opportunity to form a plan. They even gave me a free weapon to make my escape easier. On top of that, they left all my gear unguarded. I almost feel bad for killing them. I climbed to this roof, which had these cool statues. These are gonna look great in Ezio's living room. I found the library, which was only opened by uber-specific keys. The only person who knew the location of said keys was, and I quote, an ugly captain. You gotta look like Augie from Wonder if this guy is calling you ugly. I found the captain, who would have escaped had this conveniently placed rope not been on the back. I switched to my own cart and we started duking it out. I'm not trying to call favoritism, but the captain's cart had twice as much health and all the potholes were on my side. Not to mention the grenades getting thrown at me. Ezio was very close to having a permanent dinner with the Grim Reaper, so the game told me to get some medicine. But I don't need that. On second thought, I might need that. The same way that these guys need a father figure. Well, needed. Speaking of fatherless children, I got the treasure map and went to Constantinople, which probably means City of Bright Colors. This color palette makes me feel like I'm watching a Marvel movie.
La la la.
This music teacher gave me a tour of the city. Everything was going good until he almost got JFK'd. I don't know how he missed. If we were walking any slower, we'd be moving in reverse. I like how even after getting jumped, we're still walking at the same pace. Maybe put a little pep in your step. The next guy might actually know how to use a gun. We got to the assassin HQ, where Yusuf basically said, Ezio, you've got no drip, which forced me to spend all my money on this lingerie set.
We feared we had lost our mentor to the vices of the big city.
I was like 20 feet away. Did you even try looking for me? My new acquaintance gave me a hook blade, which allowed me to do the classic suicidal assassin moves, but with extra suicide. It wouldn't be Assassin's Creed if we didn't find the tallest building, climb it, and sit at the top while the camera cinematically circles us. Our warehouses of Mongolian children were being raided by the FBI. I went to one of said warehouses, and everything was going good until they used their secret weapon. Pointy stick. It's like Sun Tzu said, if your enemy has a pointy stick, place a bunch of walls and use your wrist-mounted pistol. Then destroy it at the last possible second, purposely of course, to build suspense. After meeting Darth Revan himself, I found Yusuf, who needed me to save him. Not only can he not defend himself, but he also can't defend a single warehouse. I've been here for one day and I'm already better at his job. It's a good thing the game told me I was entering a Templar-controlled area. All the Templars and anti-assassin propaganda didn't give it away. I thought this was Target. I decided to sit back, and after everyone did all the heavy lifting, took credit for freeing the district. I went to the harbor, where I found this guy locked up. Not only did I free him, I invited him to be an assassin. This guy was a thief, and not even a good one. I guess they're letting anybody become assassins these days. Who's next on the recruiting list? Helen Keller and Stephen Hawking? I promoted this guy to the leader of his own assassin den, which is probably a big deal. He then needed my help on a mission. That new title isn't just for you to put on your resume. Ask one of your indentured servants, I mean assassin subordinates, to help you. I then got into a carless car chase with this assassin killer. He was getting away, but luckily the den leader was here to miss an air assassination and let him escape. If I cut off my left nutsack and put a hood on it, it would make a better assassin. I sent the den leader to some city I had made up and got taught bomb making by 60 Stoner guy. Is he a member of the Assassins or Al Qaeda? As fun as bowling with live pins was, I decided to resume my search for the keys. I went to this Barnes & Noble's where Ezio showed that his wrist is like Halo Reach. It gets better with time. Like every other Barnes & Noble's, there is a secret hole that led into a Templar-infested labyrinth. They had spent over a year looking for the key. It took me less than 30 minutes. It wasn't even hidden well. It was behind the secret wall that sticks out like a Chinese person in a pizza shop. Back on the surface, I told this complete stranger about the keys and all our other assassin secrets. In the words of Gunna, that pussy got power. I then showed Yusuf the key, in the middle of a crowded plaza. While you're at it, you might as well put up a neon billboard that says, Templars, we found the key you're looking for. As good as Brotherhood was, Revelations is the best AC game. Its biggest improvement wasn't Ezio's new drip, but having all fast travel available from the start. Really makes you feel like daddy's spoiled little princess. Last video I made a joke about allergies. It was hilarious, of course, since it was me making it. That's not the point though. The point is, the very next video my allergies get bad.
Hardly seems like a coincidence. I contributed to the spread of monkeypox, played Ring Around a Rosie, and went back to the Dark Ages, better known as 1964, before life-saving inventions like modern medicine and the blender. Desmond, Ezio, and the OG assassin himself? Sounds like one hell of a threesome. Pause. Resume. It's funny how Altair can't throw a knife straight, but he can jump 60 feet and then perfectly on his target. Back to Ezio, the assassin I'd sent on a wild goose chase had returned. He didn't come alone, he brought his problems with him. Oh, the assassins are being killed and kidnapped. Don't do that. The fuck? It's like, how are you homeless? Just buy a house. I found the abducted assassins right next to one of our HQs. That's like robbing a bank and then lying low somewhere where there's a lot of cops. Like near a donut shop. We dealt with the traitor. I don't have anything witty or funny to say, just wanted to conclude that storyline. We then beat up some band kids so we could sneak into a super exclusive party. I guess IDs haven't been invented yet. I saved Constantinople's prince. You know what that got me? More work. On top of that, you put our meeting spot in a restricted area. The Navy SEALs I killed are on his conscience, not mine. He gave me a very important mission. One that required haste. Leaving your house at 10:15 trying to catch McDonald's breakfast type of haste. Which would have to wait since Sophia needed Ezio's help finding a book. I roleplayed as Lee Harvey Oswald and found it in some ceiling tiles. Why not put it on a bookshelf? Now I hear you thinking to yourselves, no games, are you on crystal meth? Obviously, but that's not the point. No one would look for a hidden book on an obvious bookshelf. I entered the Empire State Building and explored this cave network. You're telling me nobody noticed all the money, materials, and probably forced labor that was going into this? Whoever built this place must have called Saul. I collected the second Infinity Stone and then instigated a street fight which led to one of my assassins being killed. I made sure to give his body the respect it deserved. Back to Altair, apparently we need fire fuel doesn't mean kill your leader and use his body. They should have been more specific. A bass fish lowered my Y coordinates. The game then directed me to save him. I'll get right on that. You know, thank goodness it told me not to leave the area. Here I was, about to book a vacation to Switzerland. I begrudgingly saved the bass fish, and that concludes story time with Altair.
How does one cope with such responsibility and unlimited power?
Crack helps. Remember those annoying tailing missions? Yeah, they're back. This time I was following Tariq, a member of the Templars. Ezio hates them because they killed his family like 40 years ago. Way to hold a grudge. Nothing of note happened until he told his men to be on the lookout for people following him. Which made this into a real challenge. I'm not sure how I overcame it. He entered this big wall. I was trying to figure out how to follow, which was stressing me out. You know what always makes me feel better? Starting anti-government riots. Inside, Tariq was nowhere to be found, so I had to settle for what were probably preschoolers. On this episode of Simp Adventures, one of Sophia's paintings had been stolen. I found it, and the game said to get it back by any means necessary. So I did. As payment, she gave me more work. Have these people never heard of paychecks? Or head? I found the book, and upon closer inspection was able to confirm it was indeed a book. I then got into a boat chase with some Boy Scouts. It allowed me to use my hook blade some. It's a cool tool and not one I use very often, which is how every BMW driver describes their turn signal. They got into an accident, which was completely random and definitely nobody's fault. That led to me finding these treasure chests. I need to talk with whoever put these here. They're just sitting there, not gaining any money. However, you could put these in a savings account and earn 0.17% APY. Honestly, I'd be a great financial consultant. But a client would be like, I just got paid. I'm excited to feed my family. Now hear me out. Dogecoin to the moon. I got the third key. While I was making big baller moves, Altair was losing his son. I had a meeting with the guy who killed him, and to everyone's shock, things went south. The game told me to escape, once again, by any means necessary. That includes slaughtering wave after wave of what must have been the castle's gardeners. I jumped through this window since doors are for pussies and met up with my other son, who brought with him enough throwing knives to make even the NRA jealous. I'm just glad the bathfish didn't kill the actually useful son. We rode off into the sunset and it was back to Ezio, who is now a member of the Janissaries. Thank the FBI, but instead of solving murders or stopping terrorists, we beat up anyone who calls us mean names. These guys can survive being shot in the head, but heaven forbid someone insult them. I used my new status to get close to Tarek. He's probably a good fighter. We'll never know though. Turns out, Tariq was a double agent for the Templars. One day, we'll look back at this and laugh. Or one of us will. Janissaries are a unique enemy. Sometimes you spend 5 minutes fighting one, other times they're killed instantly. It's like dating a bipolar girl. One day she's in love with you, the next, you better sleep with one eye open, else she might slit your throat. I met up with the prince. We were interrupted with news of Tarek's death. This is unbelievable. I will personally find whoever did this. Once again, these guards are not on my conscience. The prince should try not being such an introvert. It wouldn't hurt him to leave his house every now and again. Assassin's Creed has had a lot of exciting moments. The Battle of Thermopylae, Bunker Hill, assassinating Julius Caesar, but nothing tops flower picking. The excitement continued with me going to this lighthouse. This place was definitely haunted, but that's okay, I don't mind the company. Never mind, I think they took my wallet. I got the fourth key, which means another Altair sequence. This time, he looked old enough to be classified as a dinosaur. I guess the assassins don't have a retirement plan, which is probably why these guys are on strike. That and the crazy bass fish from earlier is still crazy. These assassins pledged their loyalty to me, and so did these guys. I appreciate it, but next time try not to make it so obvious. Like when you join a terrorist group, you don't walk outside with their merch on. You gotta be discreet about it. Tell me how Altair can move like this, but sound like. I entered the iconic fortress where I was attacked. All it took was me disarming him for him to realize that I was chill like that. With a boss in my no-scoping compilation, I switched back to Ezio, who couldn't go on his vacation since there was a giant chain in his way. A wise man once said that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. He obviously never bought bombs from an Arab. The excitement continued with me showing that I'm perfectly trustworthy and should be allowed around lighters. These guys are trying to clean up my mess. I respect the hustle, but it's like an earthquake causing the ground to split open, so you use magnets to try and put it back together. We arrived at Ezio's vacation spot. Is this all he could buy on an assassin's salary? These guys need to unionize. I met up with one of Tarek's spies who I told that me and him were friends. That wasn't true, but I said it and she believed it, so we're sticking to it. She then used all 7 of her brain cells to get captured. I freed her and then she wanted me to kill this guy. The Crusade's called, they want their outfit back. He obviously takes his anti-assassination gummies, meaning I had to do this the old-fashioned way. With For Honor's newest character dead, I decided to not wear my safety glasses in science class. The whole point of that big explosion was to get the attention of this hippopotamus. Telling him that McDonald's is having an all-you-can-eat buffet would have worked just the same, and wouldn't have put housing prices in the stratosphere. I gave chase, but he locked himself behind this gate. Honestly, well played. I mean, there's just no way around that. With Burger King's #1 customer dead, I got the final key. Turns out, the massive explosion I caused wasn't very OSHA safe. Definitely a problem. Just not one of mine. With everyone on this island now dead or homeless, I went back to Constantinople where there's a $10,000 bounty on me. Growing up, I always wanted to be popular. This must be what it's like. I went to Sophia's shop where I found Yusuf dead. Then out of nowhere, these assassins showed up. Like, how long have they just been sitting there, staring at his corpse, waiting for me? Doesn't seem like a good use of time. What is a good use of time is clearing our names since we were now more wanted than sex in Minecraft. Just hear me out. I found a social media influencer. I tried showing him my crossbow, but for some reason it kept auto-locking on his bodyguards. The dude didn't even bat an eye, I respect that. He saw his protection get killed and knew he was probably next, but he'd rather spend his last moments admiring the plaza. I aspire to be that chill one day. I went to our hideout where Ezio collected the rest of the keys. This part was really lonely. Yusuf was Ezio's only friend. Other than him, all he had were these assassins whom he wasn't even on a first-name basis with. Imagine working for a company that knows you by no name other than Employee 427. Oh yeah, that's every big company. I found Sophia hanging around and proceeded to get into the sickest car chase of all time. At one point, Ezio fell out. It's good to know that all that head trauma didn't affect his observation skills.
Hold on! Soldiers, up ahead! More soldiers!
I don't know why, but Sophia makes it her goal to take the turniest route possible. Is that word real? No, but neither's your parents' love for each other, yet here we are. The whole point of all this was to catch this guy who was the Templar headmaster. That's probably great on a resume, as well as Tinder. I lead a secret organization that's massive, but not nearly as massive as my cock. I did all of this just to not even get to kill myself. I did get permanently exiled, which is also great for dating apps. I got exiled from Turkey the same way I'm going to exile my kids into you. Ezio isn't the only one with unspoken riz. I had all the keys, so I went back to probably Afghanistan. Sophia also came with. I don't know why she wore a dress. We're at an abandoned castle, not the red carpet. I entered the library, where I made sure to light each individual torch. The game then had me unlight each individual torch. It was meant to be poetic. And it was. Just more of the I'm gonna murder someone and hide it under my floorboard type of poetry. Existing is pretty exhausting, so Altair decided to rest. For 200 years. I found another apple of Eden. Last time I had one of these, my dick shriveled up and all my hair fell out.
That's probably the uranium I ate, but I still left it.